everybody, welcome back to Cason's Country Kitchen. Today I'm going to be showing y'all how to make chicken spaghetti. So we boiled 5 chicken breasts. Let me show y'all these. And Mama's just shredding them. I boiled them in a stick of butter, salt and pepper, and a little poultry seasoning to make the broth good. And now in my pot right here, I've got the chicken broth, and I boiled the noodles in the broth, and it makes it really good. Now we're cooking for a crowd tonight, so we're going to use 2 pounds of noodles. And I like to break them because I don't like them all over my face. All right, there's one. Do we need full packs of both of them?
Probably half.
I have, so about 1.5 pounds, y'all. Okay, there's 2. Now I'm just going to let these boil and cook good. And then I'll be back to show y'all the next step. Okay, y'all. Go ahead and do that. Okay, y'all. Now I'm cutting up the Velveeta cheese. I took 1 pound of it and I cut it in half, and then I cut the halves in half. And so I quartered the cheese, and I'm only using 3/4 of it. So what I do is I cut the fourths into little pieces like that, and then I cut that in strips, just like that. And then I cut them into cubes. Now, I have made my cheese sauce with the soup mix and the Kansas soup and the rotel tomatoes in a separate pot on the stove, so it's not so hard mixing it up. But I'm tired of doing dishes, so we're just gonna mix it up in this big, huge Tupperware bowl. Thanks to my granny. All right, y'all, got the noodles drained. And put those hot noodles down on that cheese. And this is going to be really good, y'all. While those noodles are still real hot, you need it to melt that cheese good and fast. Just going to mix all of this together.
You need another spoon to cut.
Please. Now this is a comfort food. It's a good dish to bring to any church potluck, or I use the smaller one better. Or to, like, if somebody you know's passed away and you want to take something to the family, this will be a good thing to take to them. I know when my granny passed away, we had several chicken spaghettis.
And they were different kinds, too.
Potato casseroles. And that's another recipe I'm going to show y'all how to make soon. It's hash brown casserole. That is wonderful. Okay, so that cheese is starting to melt good. And I'm going to add in 2 cans of cream of celery soup. So that was 1. Here's 2. I'm going to mix it as I add it, just because I don't want to add all of it in and try to mix all of it in at one time.
You may have to tag out. Stirring.
Okay, now I'm going to add in 2 cans of cream of chicken. And y'all, if you are on a low sodium diet, you can get the low sodium soup mixes. And then you can cut out the salt when you're boiling the chicken.
And the noodles.
Yes. But noodles, or pasta, I shouldn't say noodles. Pasta absorbs a lot of salt. So the real Italians add a lot of salt to their boiling water. Okay, now I'm going to add in, do you do 1 or 2?
Start with 1. You need to
I think
drain
that's
them?
what I do too. I don't.
Okay.
Because it's so thick. I'm going to add in a can of Rotel. Now, this is not the Rotel brand. And when I say Rotel, some of y'all will say, Cason, I don't know what that is. All it is a can of tomatoes with green chilies. Rotel is just a brand name that is real popular.
In the South.
In the South. When you say Rotel, everybody knows what it is. But I forget that I've got some followers up north, too. So this is just mild tomatoes with green chilies. Even if you can't find this, get you 1 can of diced tomatoes this size, 10 ounces, and add a little 4-ounce jar of green chilies, and that'll work just as good. So I'm gonna start with just 1 of these. And if you don't like the chilies, if you can't handle the spice, which I mean they're not really spicy, you can just add tomatoes. Or if, let's say, you're allergic to tomatoes and you can't have them, or if you just don't like tomatoes, you don't have to add that. That's the thing with chicken spaghetti. Some people like to add English peas to it. And to me, that's gross, but to you, that may be good.
You need a longer spoon, baby?
This is good.
From the bottom.
Think it needs another one?
I think all the melted cheese went to the bottom. Yeah.
One more?
Yeah, just keep. What you think?
You think it needs another can?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Like I said, some people like to add sauteed onions and bell peppers. I don't like that, but I don't either. What's one man's trash is another man's treasure. And, to each his own. I'll say that. Oh, that's looking about right. All right, so like I said, I told you I was tired of doing dishes.
You can eat it just like this right here.
Oh yeah, you can eat it just like that. However, if you're gonna eat it just like this, I recommend mixing it up in that hot pot so it'll stay hot. But since I'm gonna put this right into the oven and bake it, I mix it up in this bowl. It's a little bit more manageable. Okay, Mo, will you hand me that big pan over there?
All right, fine.
All right, let me pause and wash my hands because I got some on there. Mo, will you turn that off for me? All right, y'all, Mama's stirring it up a little bit.
Hey.
And we're going to add in 1 more can of cream of chicken.
You don't want it to dry out while it's
No.
in the oven.
This is fine if you're going to eat it like this, but if you put it in the oven, it'll dry out some. So we're just going to add 1 more can of soup. And the oven is on 350 degrees. Okay, y'all, I'm going to add in probably about a teaspoon of black pepper to this, just to make it extra flavorful.
Thought it was.
Nah, that's probably plenty. Give this 1 more good little stir. Okay. Now, I'm going to pour it in this pan.
Is it all gonna fit?
Yep.
Yeah. And some people do the shredded cheese on top, but
Yeah, but it's got plenty of cheese in it with
Yes.
the Velveeta. Right. And now you just bake it, y'all, until it's golden bubbly, probably about 25, 30 minutes. And then we'll have us a
that's
good...
a deeper pan, so it may take a little
Yeah, it
bit
may
longer.
take a little bit longer for it to get good and hot all the way through. Everything's done in it. All right, y'all. We'll be back when it's ready. Okay, y'all. I am going to show y'all how I make my garlic bread. I have 10 slices of French bread, or brioche bread here. And I have 1 stick of butter. And I'm going to put that stick of butter in my bowl. These are the Pampered Chef silicone measure bowls. I love these. And then I'm going to add in probably about a teaspoon of garlic salt. I'm not going to measure, not a whole lot. It's probably a teaspoon. And about a teaspoon of oregano leaves. Now, if you have fresh, that would be delicious, but I don't have fresh. About a teaspoon of those. Now I'm just going to melt this in the microwave until the butter's completely melted. Okay, y'all, here is the finished garlic butter. Now, if you have a brush, you can use that, but mine broke, so this is what we're dealing with right here. So I'm just going to spoon about a tablespoon of this mixture on each piece of bread and spread it, because if you don't spread it, it's going to all soak in right there. Just like this. This will be real good, y'all. Okay, y'all, I'm going to show y'all how to make my fancy green beans. There's another name for them, but they're called cracked green beans, but I don't like that, so I just say fancy green beans. This is 2 large cans of green beans, about that big, not the regular can, but the bigger can, the family size. And I've just been cooking them in their own juice, and now that they're ready, I'm going to drain them, and I'll be back. Okay, while the green beans are draining, I'm going to make the sauce. I'm going to put a stick of butter in the same pot that I was cooking them in. And I'm going to let this just melt. I'm going to stir that around, let it melt. And, y'all, these are really popular in the South, you know, at events. Everywhere you go and they're serving food, you're likely to run into some of these fancy green beans. Now, I don't have any bacon bits, but if you have bacon, you can put bacon bits in them. And that'll be really good. I may have some bacon bits, Mama, in the pantry back there. Utility room. Y'all, our utility room is big enough to where it doubles as a pantry in the utility room. Okay, so now that butter's almost all the way melted, I want to add in 1/4 cup of brown sugar. I'll never forget, somebody was over here and I was making these. And they said, "Oh, what are you making?" I said, "Green beans." And they said, "With brown sugar and butter?" They thought I was making candy or something. Okay. Y'all, I thought I had some, but I guess I don't. That's all right. They're good with bacon, but they're good enough that they don't have to have it. Okay, and I'm going to let this all get combined together. Okay, y'all, I've got about, this is boiling, I've got about 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. I'm just going to stir that up. And now I'm going to put the green beans back in here. Okay, y'all, I added those green beans back, and I just stirred this up, and they are done. So I'm going to turn the heat off and cover these up. Now would be the time where you sprinkle bacon bits on top of them. All right, y'all, here's the finished chicken spaghetti. And there's the green beans. And there's the toast.